installed on it and some other programs designed for those purposes. First, to make sure your computer is running properly or as fast as possible, one of the ways you can do this is to make sure the hard drive has not been fragmented or is not fragmented enough that you need to worry about it. So I'm going to explain first how to defragment the C drive, which can also refer to any number of drives, but usually the hard drive will default to C. You can also defragment any other number of hard drives. The easiest way you can do that is to right-click on the C drive icon, go to its properties, and then from there you can see the properties page. Click on Tools, and from there you can see the different Check Now and Defragment Now options. I'm going to click Defragment Now, and whether or not it will automatically scan or analyze the fragmentation on the hard drive will tell me just how fragmented the hard drive is, and this will determine about how slow the hard drive can run. The reason it slows is that as data is stored on the physical hard drive, the pieces are stored in different locations, and so when it tries to read a particular file, it will have to search over the entire hard drive for that using its own type of table of contents. And so I'm going to analyze it now, and it will demonstrate to me the amount of fragmentation. You can see down from the color key here, red are fragmented files or large files that have been spaced over large areas of the hard drive. Blue are contiguous files, which means that they are contiguously next to each other on the hard drive, and trying to read them does not slow down the hard drive as much as it normally would the others. Green, unmovable files are typically those that the Windows operating system uses to basically conduct all of Windows affairs. Attempting to move those is not necessarily possible because it's the Windows system trying to remove itself if you were to do that. Free space is essentially just free space on the hard drive that is not used. You can also see up here that I have a percentage of free space available. The free space given as a estimate. You can see the number is decreasing because the screen capture program is using it. The capacity of the hard drive is right here. This is a relatively low capacity hard drive considering it's about 6 years old since the manufacturing date. This has been purchased in 2007 but is still running well. Now it says the analysis is complete. I can choose to view the report, which will demonstrate to me the types and sizes of fragmentations, what files are being fragmented, and so forth. Not necessarily useful to the average user. If I wanted to right now, I could click defragment, and it would go through and move all of the red portions into contiguous blue areas, typically to the left of the screen. But right now I'm going to close this because there are other programs that will demonstrate this for me. The first is the Auslogics product suite. Their website here is the Auslogics.com English software. Going to their products page will bring you this page. The one I want to demonstrate first is the Auslogics Disk Defrag for free. If you click download, it will take you to the download location, but once again I already have the installer here. Double clicking on the icon, if you had a pre-existing entry or pre-existing version of the software, it would ask you first if you want to uninstall it. I've already done so just to demonstrate this a little faster. In this particular program, this particular company, Auslogics, will attempt to get you to install a number of extras on your computer when you install the programs each time. So paying attention to the installer options are worth it in this case, because it wants me to change the home page and install a search bar that I don't necessarily need. I'm going to allow it to create a desktop icon just so I can demonstrate this once it's done installing. I'm going to choose to launch it, and as with the other program, this one will attempt to scan the entire hard drive and present it to me as a table or a graph instead of just a bar line graph. And right now, it will demonstrate to me all of the areas on the hard drive that are actually occupied by data, and whether or not the data is random data on the hard drive, or if it's part of the master file table, which is the hard drive's equivalent of the table of contents, so it knows where to look for what piece of data for what program. Right now, instead of defrag, I'm going to choose to analyze, and it will demonstrate to me which of all these green types are contiguous and which are actually defragmented. file is heavily fragmented. I'm going to choose to defrag, however this will slow down the computer slightly, so it may affect the recording. I may have to shut it off to wait for it to finish before continuing from there. This will easily take a few minutes, so I'm just going to shut it off anyway. Now it's been 27 minutes, the defragmentation is completed, so I'm just going to close out of this and move on to the other programs from Auslogics. Another program that they have that is a little bit useful is the registry cleaner or the registry defrag, which will do essentially the same thing to the Windows registry so it can run a little bit faster. What it will do is it will scan your hard drive for random entries pertaining to programs that are either duplicates or no longer necessary. When it finds these obsolete pieces, it will attempt to either remove them or compact them so that your registry runs a little bit faster because it's not having to comb through all of this unnecessary data. And as with the other installer from Auslogics, this one will attempt to get you to install a toolbar that will go directly to them or that will redirect your home page. So I'm going to uncheck both of these, click next, and create a desktop icon. No, since I'm already going to run this when the installation is finished. So when I click Analyze, it will go through the registry analysis, and when it gives me the results, it will offer me the chance to defragment or to compact the results. We can see already that it's found a number of things that it can change so that it can possibly optimize them. How it records these, you can see the color code here. Something that's been fragmented just means that the registry isn't necessarily as compact or as contiguous a set of instructions or set of data as it could be, and so this program will offer to optimize that for you. Just going to leave it as it is right now because if I tell it to defrag now, it will tell me that it's required to reboot the computer. I'm not going to do that just yet. It's fine enough to know that there's this much optimization and 1% increase is not necessarily worth justifying that. So I'm just going to close this and we'll move on to the other projects.